Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds, talking authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We have the nucleus of the North. That's your nickname tonight, Jay. That's what we're going to call you. Someone who's appeared more times on this channel probably than some of the lads that are actually on it at this point. But yeah, how are we doing, Jay? First and foremost, talk to me about ongoing things, topical things, the Euros, pre-season coming up, all that kind of jazz. And how are we in general, of course?
Yeah, good man. So you want me to talk to you about the Euros, about the transfers that are coming up, about what's going on in the club with Ineos and the new structure, about Daniel Swift coming in, about the fact that Ericsson has just been given a new contract, about Kobe making his performance at the Euros, about the fact Luke Shaw might be fit for the Euros, about the fact that we've got to address the issue with Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood before the report for training next week, about the rumours regarding Marcus Rashford and what's happening with him. Also, as well, the fact we've been linked with Matthijs de Ligt, the fact we've also been linked with Manuel Guy and Joshua Zirkzee, and it looks like there could be a bit of movement there. You want me to talk about that?
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Smash like on the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Yeah, thanks. Cheers. If you can do that all in a minute, I'd be pretty impressed.
I haven't really got much to say.
No,
no,
that's fair enough.
Okay, all right.
Can we say congratulations? You're 10 years sober the other day. Can we say congratulations on that? I think
yes, absolutely.
The fact that you've had to watch United for the last 10 years and you've not sort of swayed away from it is, I think that's a Herculean feat of strength. That because if I was sober for 10 years, I had to watch that for 10 years, I probably would have gone back to it. But
I think it motivates you a bit more. You think I can't cope with the morning of the night before with an hangover after watching this garbage. That'll just make it worse.
But as a guy,
thank you. Go on.
Sorry, Jay. I just wanted to finish, and then you can.
No, please.
Someone who probably ran 10K this morning, and you voted, and you've done 4 videos. Do you feel ready to slow down at any point, or are you still like, yeah, let's go, let's keep going?
No, man. Listen, you know me. I always bring my A game to this channel. I'm beside going. I've got an election special after this.
Have you?
So
nice.
Me and Scotty are doing
I'm tuning into that
a live election special. So we're gonna. Getting into all the politics and all that. But no, I mean, it's been a busy day. We've been doing a few videos. The 4 of us, me, Macola, Housen and Joe, were on a video before talking about some of the things we're obviously going to talk about now. And it's all popping off at United, man. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into. And yes, it's exciting. We're being linked with these players. The manager's just got a new deal. The structure looks in place. But it's also, it's going to be difficult, man. It's going to be tough because there's a long way for Manchester United to go to get to where they need to be. We're nowhere near, in my opinion, Premier League champions at the minute, and that's where Manchester United should be. So we're going to have to do that difficult thing as United fans and as football fans in general, especially United fans, and that's just be a little bit patient. So whilst I want to see the likes of De Ligt and Zirkzee and the guy, you got in De Ligt, I'm really keen to see come to United. Zirkzee, I don't really know anything about him, to be honest with you. He looks okay. But I think Steve was making his point on the podcast I was on earlier, and I think he's right. It's like, I don't see those signings coming in and all of a sudden you're challenging for titles. It doesn't work like that. It's going to be a long process, and we just have to make sure that we're prepared for that. And as long as you can see progress on the pitch, then that's good enough for me. And I don't mind waiting a little bit. I've waited 11 years. I can wait a little bit longer.
You touched on Ten Hag there. Obviously, the new deal was the big news today. Some have said it's an activation of the 1+ he already has. Others have said it's a new deal. I'm not really sure like what's going on. Maybe you can shed some light on it. Second of it, most importantly, is this the correct decision for you? I know you've talked about it quite a lot, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like,
I think it's a bit of both when it comes to the deal. It is an activation of his extension, but they didn't have to do that. There's a reason it's just been announced today because they've done it and he signed it. He had to sign it. It is a new deal in that sense, but it's not. He's been given a 3-year deal. It's when he signed for United, it was, I think, a 3-year deal with a clause, the option of extending it for 1 year. And that's an option that both him and the club, I think, had to agree to. And they have agreed to it because there was sort of wonder that maybe they're just going to let him run out his contract and see how that went on. I felt that was a little bit unfeasible because you either back the manager or you sack him. That was my opinion. And just sort of leaving him to wind down his contract made 0 sense. And it was just a waste of a year. So they have backed him, give him an extra year. He's got 2 years on his deal now to 2026. The right decision for me. I like Ten Hag. I've always made that clear. I've made it clear on your channel. Even in the dark days when we were sort of losing at home to the likes of Fulham and Bournemouth and Brighton and Palace and all the rest of it, and we hadn't lifted the FA Cup yet. There's a lot of people who thought he wasn't the right man for the job. I get it, but for me, he was. And I think there's enough there to build on. I think if we've got some of the players we've got coming through, as well as in the first team already, we can add to that, keep everyone fit, or at least hopefully not have the same injury crisis we had last season, then I think Eric Ten Hag's a good enough manager to get results for Manchester United. I really do. I think last season was a little bit of an outlier for him. If you look at his career, he doesn't usually lose that many league games. His first season at United, he didn't. When he was in Ajax, he didn't. So for him to lose the amount of games he lost last season, I don't think that's indicative of what you can usually expect from him. It was a bit of a rarity. So I'm glad he won the FA Cup, because I think that definitely got him another stint or an extension or whatever you want to call it. And I want to see that. And now we've just got to hopefully see us moving forward. And I think he's the right man for the job, man. I think you look at that first season at the club, look at the fact we won the FA Cup, we beat Liverpool in the quarterfinals, we beat Manchester City in the final. There's a manager there. I always say about the manager, same with the player, have they got it in them? Has he got it in him to be a successful manager? If they aren't, like, you look at someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for example. One of the biggest questions with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was, has he got it in him to win a trophy? And he never answered that question, because he never won. I know he won one in Norway, but he never did it at United. And it was always a stick he used to beat him with. I think had he won that Europa League final, it could have been different. People looked at his CV. Okay, he won some trophies in Norway, got relegated with Cardiff, got to all those semi-finals with Manchester United, didn't win. Got to the final United, didn't win it. Look at Eric Ten Hag. He's been at 3 finals United. He's won 2 of them. Well, one of which he wasn't the favourite to win as well. You've got to give him credit there. So I think he has got it in him. I think he's just got to get a level of consistency that's better than what we've seen, because he can't afford another 80th place finish. Not a chance.
Yeah, Dan Ashworth called him today in like a statement, didn't he? He said that he's one of the most successful coaches in Europe in regards to his trophies and stuff, which I think is interesting, because I do think there's another side to it in terms of the league finish, and there is also context to that argument in itself. But what I think is interesting about this Ten Hag situation, the 1 year extension, the fact that they're bringing Rude in, they're bringing, I can't remember the other guy's name from the
Rene Hake, I think.
Rene Hake.
That's the one. The absolute nutcase, yeah. And you've seen all these kind of Dutch connections. You've seen Xerxes there as well, which is kind of going away from what Ineos were talking about, right? They were saying, you know, we've got a vision, what we want to do. And now it seems like, Ten Hag's Delit, Dutch player, Xerxes, Dutch player. What have you personally made of his talent identification? Because there's quite a debate on that in terms of the players that he's brought in, he wanted.
I think it's been a bit of a mixed bag in it. If we're being brutally honest, I think there's been some success. I think Martinez is the obvious one where you go, that is a good player. That's a very good player. I know he was injured a lot last season, but even so, he managed to turn up for the cup final just in time to help win us a trophy, and he played his part in that game as well. And I think you know that when Lisandro Martinez is fit, he's a fantastic footballer, a great defender, and someone who can play the way Eric Ten Hag wants to play. I think, Onana and Højlund, I think we've seen enough, I believe, that these guys can kick on a little bit. I think Onana had a bit of a ropey start, but got better. Rasmus Højlund, bit of a ropey start in the league. I know he was banging him in the Champions League, but then he found his mojo, had a little bit of a purple patch. Wasn't unbelievable, his goal scoring record, but it was decent. I think 16 goals in all competitions, kind of what we expected, there or thereabouts. I think there's a player there. Mason Mount, the jury's out. Don't know. Who else? Ericsson, served the purpose.
Yep.
Probably moves on. But for a free transfer, especially for that first season, I don't think it was a bad signing. Casemiro, not a good one.
Well, it is though either, was it, at the same time? It
felt like that was one where, I think he wanted Rabiot, didn't he? And it was like, we're not going to get Rabiot. Yeah, or De Jong, obviously. Sorry, yeah. We can't get him, we can get Casemiro or no one. After you'd already lost 2 games, you're going to take Casemiro.
Yeah.
Anthony's the one that he always gets sort of criticised for, rightly so. It was a disastrous signing.
Yeah.
For me, one of the worst signings in United history, if not the worst. So you can't ignore that. I know there's been others like Malacia and Bayern Day and 1 or 2 others, but we don't need to go into too many of them. So I think it has been a mixed bag. I think it's almost like 50-50 in terms of his transfers. I think there's been, some good ones and some okay ones and some poor ones. So he just, for me, needs a bit of guidance and help. I think he needs someone who's done a bit of scouting, who knows the Premier League inside out, who knows the kind of players that fit his system. A manager shouldn't be scouting all the players as well. He shouldn't. That's no one's got enough time. I don't think for 1 minute that Pep Guardiola was looking at Gvardiol every week, or was looking at some of the other players they've signed on his watch every week. I mean, you know, probably sort of Haaland and one or two of the big names and Grealish, whatever. But a lot of them that have been scouted for him and say, look, here's a player that fits into your system that we think you can work with, and he'll have obviously been in the loop in it and had a look at the player himself and made a final decision. But I don't for a minute think it's all about him and his scouting. And I think that's the same for a lot of other clubs. But in Manchester United, it did seem to feel like it was just Eric Ten Hag going, I've worked with that player before, go and get him. Now you can say, well, that's where we're at now with De Ligt. Maybe there's an element of truth to it, but it also feels like with Wilcox coming in, with Ashworth coming in, with Omar Barada overseeing everything as well as the CEO. There's other conversations. There's other people in these conversations now who know what they're doing. So you think there'd be a little bit more structure and there'd be the ability to find players and to maybe unearth a couple of gems as well that can help this manager, because, like I say, his record's been a bit patchy on it, so you don't want to just trust it all to him.
Absolutely. Nick's just touched on transfers, talent identification. 4 big names so far this summer. We've got Jared Branthwaite, who's gone a little bit cold, and I know your mate Steve Howson's not a fan. Joshua Zirkzee, who seems to be done at some point in this second. Matthijs de Ligt, who is like an outfield out of nowhere. Like, nobody saw that coming, and now all of a sudden he's like the guy in form. And then obviously Manuel Ugarte. Which is the most important for you in terms of like next season to see an increase and a better style of play? Which signing of those is the most important? And B, what is the best sign to set a tone going forward for this transfer window, so we're not the team that gets overcharged, overdoes on wages, and then the player ultimately flops under the pressure?
It's a good question. That I think Ugarte might be the most important out of them ones. I know we need a centre-back. We do. But I think if you support a team out right now for Manchester United, you could have a team where you had, say, Luke Shaw at left-back, Dalot at right-back, Maguire and Martinez at centre-back. And then your midfield would be, Mainoo, McTominay and Bruno. You're missing a ball winner there. You're missing a 6. I mean, yes, you'd like to be a good signing and he comes straight into the team, but we haven't got that ball winning midfielder. McTominay's not that guy. Christian Eriksen's not that guy. Mainoo's not that guy. Mount's not that guy. Casemiro's done. You can't rely on the guy. So I feel like we need someone who can go and get hold of the ball. And I think Manuel Ugarte fits that bill. I really do. Now, we need all those players. We need a backup striker. We need a centre-back. We need 2 centre-backs. But if you were to ask me, gun to your head, you can only choose one, probably go for a guy. That's not me saying we don't need a centre-back and we don't need backup strikers, because we do. Ideally, we need a minimum. I think we need a minimum of 5. I think we need 2 centre-backs, a midfielder, a striker, and a left-back. I think we need a left-back. I think it's insane that we've just got an entire season almost, or 2/3 of a season, with no left-back, and we're not going to do something about that. We're just going to hope Luke Shaw gets better, or Malacia gets better, sorts the fitness out. I just think we're kidding ourselves a little bit. I think we should go out and get a left-back and maybe move on one of the others, maybe move on Tyler or Malacia. I don't know if that's going to happen. I doubt it. Eric Ten Hag brought him in, but you can't have just no left-back, sorry. Victor Lindelof's not a left-back, and he had a stinker there. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's not a left-back. He had some ropey games there. Dalot did okay.
Amrabat as well.
To be fair to Amrabat, he's not a left-back, and he had a bit of a stinker. Wan-Bissaka did have a couple of decent games at left-back, if I'm being honest, but not, he wasn't as consistent there as he has been at right-back, or even as good as he has been at right-back. Like you say, Amrabat, I mean, was it Galatasaray? Was it...
Yeah.
Did he go move into left-back at the end? I don't know.
Palace won it.
Palace as well, yeah.
He just looked out of sorts. So I just feel like you need 5. What was the other part of your question? Sorry, you asked another part of your question as well.
In terms of like setting a standard, because obviously we've been overcharged in the past and just paid ridiculous fees and ridiculous wages. What's the most important thing to come out of it? Like, obviously we don't want to overpay for someone like Branthwaite. We don't want to overpay on wages for someone like De Ligt. Like, what's the most important part of like setting the tone for this transfer window?
One thing you've nailed it there, setting the tone, letting everyone, not just for the window, but for business going forward. We're not going to pay stupid money for players. But we have done in the past. Leicester wanted 80 million for Harry Maguire, and they got it. There was no negotiations. They got exactly what they asked for. They asked for 80 million quid, and they got 80 million quid. Juve wanted 89 million quid for Paul Pogba. They got 89 million quid. Everton wanted 80 million quid, or 79 million quid for Romelu Lukaku. They got it. We've never, ever been able to get a deal, get some sort of bargaining going on. It's always been the selling club has told us what they want. Ajax said to United, the only way you're getting Antony is if you give us a ridiculous fee for him, something in the region of 80 million. And United did. It's insane. Mm-hmm. But United didn't go, well, he's only a £30 million player at best. We're not going to go higher than that. They went, right, what's it going to take to get him? And we end up paying probably 3 times what he's worth. It's just a nonsense. You have to let clubs know we're no longer doing business like that. So if Everton wants 70 million for Jared Branthwaite, even if he is worth it, I don't think United can afford to pay it. I think United needs to start sort of drawing a line under some of these transfers and some of the business and just go, look, we're not going to be those guys anymore. Well, when you've got a player to get rid of, and Manchester United come calling, you're all high-fiving each other because you know you're going to get a massive, massive payout. We need to say, no, this is it. City do it. They have a ceiling. Marco Cucurella from Brighton was what? I think they wanted to give him 45 million.
Yeah.
Brighton wanted 60. No. City walk away. Chelsea pay it.
Maguire.
Maguire.
Rice as well. Rice. Pulled out the Rice deal.
Rice. I think City were willing to pay 100 million for Rice. Arsenal went a bit more. City went, no, he's not for us. I know City spend money. I'm not defending him because obviously they spend loads of money. But I'm using it as an example where they have a limit. And that's City. That's City who've spent probably more in the last 20 years than any club on the planet. But they have a limit where they go, well, the player's no longer worth it now. He stopped being worth it to us. They'll go out and they'll spend big money. They've done it with Jack Grealish, of course, but there's a time when you have to walk away where they'll say they walk away, and that's what you've got to do. Otherwise, you're going to look like Chelsea. Well, we are like Chelsea anyway, but you can't continue like that. Because if United say, let's say we've spent 70 million on Jared Branthwaite, and let's say we get the licks for 34 million, so that's 104 million on 2 centre-backs. Brilliant. But then you've got to get a striker, you've got to get a midfielder. You probably could do with getting a left back, like I said. And you've got to do all that with what? You haven't got any money left now. You've got to sell players to get the money back. So I think we've got a £50 million operating budget. I mean, United just have to let people know it isn't business as usual at Old Trafford now. It's changed. The Woodward era is done. And this is the Dan Ashworth era. And he's doing it differently, and I'm all for it.
I think they've started it off well, to be fair, with the Dan Ashworth stuff, because they wanted 20 million back and forth. Publicly, people were looking at it from both sides of the fence, and they seem to have met in the middle, so they held firm. Whether they got what they want or not is a completely different conversation. But I think even the first bid for Branthwaite as well, going low, 34, asking to meet in the middle, they're trying to put a little bit of a stance out there. So hopefully that continues with the summer. Now, Jay, I know you do a lot of stuff around United, so you spend absolutely hours on it. So I would rather take you back to the glory days. Would you, first and foremost, would you say the 90s were your favourite moments as a United fan? Just that,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
United, the 90s for me was the most entertaining in terms of the football. The 93-94 team was probably my favourite Manchester United team in terms of not the best, but in terms of the football we're watching, the tackles, the sort of free flowing nature of it. Wingers going down there, Kanchelskis and Giggs. Eric Cantona, Mark Hughes up front. It was just Ince and Keane in the middle. There was a team that was tough, but absolutely entertaining as well, and achieved so much. And then he got towards the end of the 90s, obviously class of 92 and everything, winning the treble. It was just the golden era for me. And also in the 90s, you didn't really have that sort of massive worry about other clubs. By the noughties, you're looking at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I know Arsenal won the treble in in 98, but we won the treble in 99, so we put them back in their place. But it felt like in the noughties, then you get Chelsea are doing bits, Arsenal doing bits, Liverpool won a Champions League. It was still, United had a great period that time. But for me, the 90s was better.
The reason why I asked this is because we've set up a little bit of trivia for you.
Okay.
So I am going to test your knowledge. I'm going to start with an easy level. We're going to go medium.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go real red level, like extreme. So
okay.
We'll see where you're at. Yeah. If you love the 90s, we'll see it. So I'll give you a tap in for the start. And again, Sam, jump in if you want to jump in on any of them at all. So just a nice and easy one, because I know you're a massive fan of it. In which year did Man United win the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup? Nice and easy.
Well, for starters, it's there you go. It's on my cup that I'm drinking from.
Yeah.
My birthday as well, May 15th. I didn't know that. Yeah.
There you go, there's
I
the
mean, I
team.
know your birthday's May 15th,
Yeah.
but I was just like, I don't know. It's on the
1991. So I was 3. That was my 3rd birthday, May 15th,
Yeah.
1991.
There you go. Let's see, God rest him. Mickey Phelan. You got, is it Inns there on the end?
Yeah.
I can't see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
into
You
the
got
end.
Chucky, Irwin, Robbo, of
Robson.
course.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Clayton Blackmore, Mark Hughes. They're all there. So yeah, Lee Sharp on the end, May the 15th, 1991, European Cup Winners' Cup.
Iconic. Who scored the winning goal?
Well, the first it's a bit of debate because it's Mark Hughes, but
Yeah,
the first one there was a debate because was it Bruce or Hughes? Because Bruce headed it and Hughes kind of kicked it just as it was on the line. I think officially it was handed to both goals were handed to Mark Hughes, and it was Ronald Koeman with a free kick who got the Barcelona goal.
Of course, no VAR back in those days. How many Premier League titles did United win in the 90s?
How many Premier League? Let's work it out. 93, 94, 96, 97, 99. 5?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, correct. Question 4. In the 98-99 season, United completed the historic treble. Who were their opponents in the FA Cup final? What was the goal? Or who scored the goal, sorry? And what was the score?
I think it was Newcastle. It was 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it Scholes and Teddy who got the goals?
Teddy was the winner. I'm sure he was.
Teddy's was it Teddy who got the winner? I know,
Yeah,
because I remember it was Teddy who he barely played up until the end of the season. Then he played in both cup finals and scored in them both.
Yeah, smashing it so far. Which Man United player won PFA Young Player of the Year award in 93-94 season?
It's got to be Giggsy, surely.
Sam, what are you going with?
Yeah.
I'll go. I think you might be right with Giggsy, but I'll just to be different. I'll say Neville.
Neville's a shout, but it's Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs, correct.
I thought
nice and easy. Standard.
You need to change that because I think Giggs had been in the team for like 3 years by that point.
They say didn't he? He came in before the rest of him, really, didn't he? He'd already
he
played,
did.
Like,
he came in when he was like 17, and he played a couple of seasons. And then I think when they do this PFX, you've had seasons where like James Milner won it when he was like 23, and he'd been in the Premier League for 7 years, and he looks about 30. And you're like,
Saka won it recently, didn't he? And he's like, he's played 4 or 5 seasons. Like, come on.
I think once you've had sort of a season, that's it. Do you know what I mean? I think like you can't be having players that are in the 3rd or 4th season because they're still under 23 when the season starts. It's a nonsense.
Yeah. Now we're going to take it up a level. We're going to go from, let's say, I don't know, what's that mild flavor in Nando's? Is it lemon and herb to kind of medium, kind of, we'll go with that. In the 96 FA Cup final, United completed the double by defeating Liverpool. Who provided the assist for Eric Cantona's winning goal?
There's a corner in it. So I'm going to guess. I'm trying to think that it's going to be either Bex or Giggs. I'll go with Beckham.
I'll go Giggs.
It's either Beckham or Giggs.
I'll go Giggs then, just to split it.
Sam, Ryan Giggs.
I should have known that.
Or Giggs is,
I knew. I should have known. I was trying to work out whether it swung inwards or which way it swung.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was obviously from that. As you're facing the goal, it's on the right, isn't it?
Yep, correct. Which Man United player was the top scorer in the 94-95 Premier League season?
94-95.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question.
I'll give you 4 options if you want the 4 options. I can give you them.
Give me the options.
Oh, I know who it is. I don't need him. I know who it is.
Oh, are you sure?
I can tell you who it was, and I think I can tell you how many league goals he scored as well. I think it's Andrei Kanchelskis, and I think he scored 17 league goals.
Oh, you're so close. That would have been so. It's Kanchelskis, but 14
goals. Oh, mate.
3 goals off.
I think I've told this story before. Maybe Jay's not heard it, but the first shirt I ever got for United as a kid was the blue and white striped kit, no with the yellow sharp view cam. And I wanted a name on back. My mum was like, "What do you want?" And I said Kanchelskis. Obviously, it's like per letter at the time. And she's like, "You don't want Butt, you don't want Giggs, like nothing like that." I was like, "No, I want Kanchelskis."
Something cheap.
And I think he literally left 2 weeks later. He got sold.
Oh, mate.
She was furious. Fucking furious.
I don't want a Kanchelskis shirt. No.
and the Evertonians want to wear a United top.
Yeah. Jesus. Right, question 3. During the 98-99 Champions League semi-final against Juventus, United made a famous comeback, but what was the aggregate score of the tie?
So we drew 1-1 at Old Trafford. It was at that game. Giggs scored the late equaliser. They went 2-0 up. Roy Keane made it 2-1.
Is it 3-2?
So
3-2, I want to say.
it would have been, no, I think it was 3-2 to us over there. So it would have been 4-3 in aggregate.
Okay.
Yeah. 4-3
Because I think
aggregate.
Cole's goal made us the winner on the night rather than
Yes.
just because I think we were going through anyway on away goals, weren't we?
Yeah.
And Cole's last minute goal made sure of it because they would have had to score 2 in a minute.
Yeah, so smashing it so far. I'm going to pick the pace up. Which United player scored a hat-trick in the 98-99 Premier League match against Nottingham Forest, which ended in an 8-1 victory?
Oh, that's 4 in it for Ollie.
Ole, ole, ole. Oi, oi, oi. And then question 5. In the 92-93 season, United secured their first Premier League title. Who was the captain that season?
Well, it was 2 because it was Steve Bruce and it was the club captain was Robbo, hence the reason they lifted the trophy together.
Yeah. Are we happy with that?
Robbo was injured, wasn't he, for a while? Was it that season he was injured? Or he was on?
Well, no, he was dropped. He was.
Was he dropped?
It was the first season where he just wasn't first choice.
Yeah,
the preferred midfield was better because he moved when we bought Eric. He moved McClare into midfield and alongside Inns, and he stuck with that even when Robbo was available. So Robbo, if you remember, was number 12 rather than number 7.
I don't.
When
I
the,
remember.
squad
I
numbers came
know.
out.
I know the history now, but I think I was 2 at the time, so I don't.
Yeah, I, mean, I
know
don't
the
expect.
memory
I
of
was
it.
I was living it. I was 12, so I remember it well.
Yeah. Showing your age there, lads. Anyway, are you ready for the real red level, Jay?
Yeah. Let's do this, man.
Jay's just gonna annihilate this. Like,
I'm not. I mean, I got the one of them the gigs wrong. I was wrong with the amount of goals on Kanchelskis as well. So I need to turn it around.
Which player scored United's first Premier League goal in 92-93 season? Oh, Jesus. There we go. Have we got him? We got him with that one.
It was got to be against Sheffield United because they beat us, didn't they? It was Brian Dean who scored the winner, I think. Who scored our goal? So
again, just for people in the chat as well, which player scored Manchester United's first Premier League goal in 1992-93 season? Who was it? Anyone in the chat get it? I'll give you a big shout out.
No idea
right
about
now.
this.
Make sure you smash a like in the video, by the way. I forgot to mention that even at the start.
I can't remember who it was.
Yes, we've got him. A mastermind.
You know
is
what?
It going to be Is it going to be a player? I have no idea. I don't know this player.
You know him, but he's not like he weren't a mega player for United.
Right. Okay.
So the first goal it was against Sheffield United. Yeah, am I right in that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the first goal scored by a Manchester United player in the Premier League era.
I'll take a stab in the dark and I'll just say Steve Bruce.
No, not Steve Bruce. Jay, I'm gonna have to push you, mate.
You've made me think because you said it's someone who's not a mega player.
He's not a mega star. He's known, but he's not a mega star.
He's not a mega star.
That's why I went Bruce because he's known, but he's not a mega.
I know
star.
Dublin got our first winning goal, but not our first goal.
You sure?
What?
You sure?
Well, Dublin scored against Southampton. He got the one when we won 1-0.
The first Premier League goal.
Was that not? Was that the first Premier League goal? Dublin. Was it?
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Does he get that, Sam?
Yeah, give it him. Yeah, give him.
I thought. I thought we lost something like 2-1 Sheffield United, and I thought we drew with Ipswich before he got that win. I must be completely wrong.
We can go to VAR. People in the chat, if you want to do your thing, absolutely go for it.
Right. That was against Southampton. That his first goal when we won, and I thought we'd scored before then. I must be wrong.
In 98-99, United defeated Brøndby 6-2 in a Champions League group stage match. Who scored a hat-trick in that game?
I've been asked this before, right? And I can't remember it. I couldn't remember it.
Here it is, the real red.
It's come up before this question, and I can't remember. I'm just going to take a punt and go Dwight York.
Sam, do you want to take a... I think Jay should have known this one. This is the one that's going to...
It's not... Yeah, go on.
Sam?
Is Jay right or is he wrong?
No.
He's not right.
Not right. No. Anyone?
I think it's not Scholes, is it?
Nope. Not Scholes.
I'm just guessing now.
Is it a winger? Is it a winger? No.
No, you was not far with your answer, Jay.
It's not Andy Cole.
It is.
Andy Cole?
Yeah, Andy Cole.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I can't even remember that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Andy Cole.
I love Andy Cole as well. I didn't even know it was him. Actually, that's shocking.
Right, last three. I think, last three. During the 93-94 season, which United player made the most appearances in all competitions?
93-94?
Yeah. If you get this, I'd be fucking impressed.
Now, the only reason I'm not sure if it's Schmeichel is because he got suspended for the...
My guess was Schmeichel, but I'm going to assume
he got suspended for the... he got sent off in the FA Cup quarter-final, didn't he? So I'm wondering whether that might have done for him.
I feel like we need like a countdown thing.
I'm going to go Pallister.
Sam?
Yeah, because I thought it was Schmeichel, but if Jay's saying no, then yeah.
That's very good. Pallister. It is Pallister. Wow. Very, very good, that. Yeah.
Living up to pressure was on there.
Yeah.
The pressure was on, I ain't going to lie to you.
Last two. Which club did Man United sign Jesper Blomqvist from in 98?
It was Gothenburg, wasn't it? I think. Was it not?
Nope.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It was a club we played against him. Because he tore David May a new one, didn't he? Oh, it's not. I was sure it was Gothenburg.
Anyone in the chat? A few of you have got quite a few right already. Someone saying Jay's the GOAT there, number 7. There you go, Jay. Someone saying Bronbet. Nope, not Bronbet.
Oh, do you know what? They beat us, and he played well. And I can't get me Gothenburg out of my head. Oh, do you know what? This is going to do me head in. This is
Sam,
really annoying.
Do you want to take a stab in the dark?
I what? You want me to name a Swedish team?
Again for the chat, which club did Man United sign Jesper Blomqvist from in 1998?
No fucking clue.
No, well, I've had my guess and I got it wrong. Go on, you're going to have to put me out of misery.
Taking any stabs at all? You want to guess anything? No? Okay.
No, I can't. Go on.
Parma. It was.
Oh.
Signing from Parma. Yep.
So we didn't get him straight from... Did he...
Gothenburg.
So Blomqvist revealed Sir Alex Ferguson's persistence convinced him to join United. The Swede was signed from Parma ahead of the famous 98-99 season. Speaking earlier on the podcast, United podcast.
Right. Because I remember him. I'm sure he must have been at Gothenburg. I remember him having a game against... I'm sure it was him against us at Gothenburg. Well, that was in like 95, 96, I think.
Correct. And the last one...
I'm confused.
This shouldn't have been on the hard level, to be honest with you. I should have put it in the medium, but we'll just end up with a nice one. Who was United's assistant manager before Steve McLaren took over in 99?
Kiddo.
Yeah. Kiddo, that's correct.
Easy.
To be fair, I think you got 2-3 there wrong there, lads.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Pretty good.
I think.
Yeah, it was pretty a bit disappointing. The Andy Cole hat-trick against Bromby one was disappointing.
Yeah, you should have known that one.
I can live with the others, but I'm ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
Getting him mixed up with Dwight York. I mean, it's pretty racist, really, isn't it, when you think about it? Let's have it right.
Is that?
Oh, it's not. It's not you. It's the other one.
Is that why you voted reform today, Jay? Is that why?
That's why I've been out.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, saying outside Eccles Library where you can vote, saying let's get Farage in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Couple of questions.
Jay
before he goes. I think this is your wife in the chat, Jay. Question for Jay: how's he feeling about his big race tomorrow?
Yeah, it's sports day tomorrow, so it's a dad race. I hate it.
Dad race. A dad race. Video
man,
it, please. Do a live stream of that.
My hamstring went on my first one. The first dad race I ever did, my hamstring went halfway through the race. I had to finish the race running like a weirdo because I couldn't stop running in front of my kids. So yeah, it was minging. I hate it. I was praying for rain tonight, but it looks like it's sunny in sunny Salford.
Yeah, that's the one.
Question for Jay: what's your earliest memory of United and your footballing hero growing up?
My footballing hero growing up, I had a few. One of my biggest heroes when I was a kid was Paul Ince. I actually loved Paul Ince. I was gutted when he left. One of my earliest memories was when we beat the Scousers in the Rumbelows Cup at Old Trafford. We beat them 3-1. Mark Hughes scored an absolute world there. I was at the game, and to this day, I think it's the best atmosphere I've ever heard at Old Trafford. The atmosphere was unbelievable. I came out there, my ears were ringing for ages, and it was just phenomenal. So yeah, it's probably my earliest memory.
Jay, what version of Manscaped should I get? We're not sponsored by Manscaped yet, but
I'm not going to listen. If Manscaped want to sponsor your podcast, they can sponsor your podcast. But until they do, we don't do freebies on Real Red Talk. No, that's not how we roll.
We definitely don't. We definitely don't. I'm just looking to see if there's any others. If you've got another question, Nick, you want to chuck in?
Can we just finish on this? Because we'll wrap it up right here. What is election, Jay? I know you're about to dive into it in a moment. Did you vote Labour? Just curious.
You put me on the spot. Are you asking me the question? I have an issue with Labour at the minute.
Okay.
Certain things that they've done that I don't agree with. I don't like cozying up to the sun. Don't like some of the things, the stance they've taken with what's going on in Gaza. I don't like the candidate that's the Labour candidate for Eccles. I'm not a fan of his. So I voted Green. And if anyone's like, well, you're going to help the Tories get in, I live in Eccles. I'm not.
It's never happening. It's never fucking happening. It's never
getting in, right? Let's just clear it out. Labour are going to get in Eccles by an absolute landslide like you've never believed. But I just don't believe in voting for a party and a person that I don't agree with. So I'll never vote Tory, obviously. I'll vote Green.
There it is, the nucleus of the North. There we have it.
I just want to echo those sentiments. I did the same. Obviously, I live in Sale, so it might be a bit of a risk. But I think Labour is probably going to win it.
I think you look at it and they think that the Tories in Greater Manchester are looking at like 2 seats or something stupid. I think I think when you're saying Greater Manchester, you're more or less talking Cheshire.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, rather than actual Manchester.
Altrincham must be a Tory seat, mustn't it?
Graham Brady's an MP, I think he is for Altrincham. Yeah. So there's a couple of like affluent parts of Manchester that are borderline Cheshire, really, or some of them are actually in Cheshire. So I think they might keep a couple of them seats, but they're going to get annihilated. And also this whole thing of like, get the Tories out. And I hate the Tories and I want to get them gone. But Labour are going to win by a landslide, right? Trust me. You are going to wake up tomorrow morning. You're going to have about 420 or 430 Labour MPs. So I don't want to buy into this idea that you have to vote Labour if you don't believe in them. You don't. They're going to walk it. And I think there's nothing wrong with criticising them and questioning on some of the things they've done because they're the government. They're going to be the government in 12 hours.
Yeah. Basically, fuck all the politics.
You just muted yourself, Nick.
Just muted yourself there with your little political rant. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, you still. You sort that out, Nick. And we'll, right, but yeah, fuck the Tories, fuck everything. Jay, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your support and all that. We'll be watching. Go watch Scotty and Motty for the election special. Peace out. See you.